Are we too much of apologists around our vision for the future? Should we be making the point much stronger about if you want to succeed, if you want a better infrastructure and a lower cost to run infrastructure, we need to invest now?
The reality is different organisations have different choices. So if you're a private developer and you're going to sell your assets straight away, CapEx is all you're interested in. If you're a long-term asset owner like Network Rail, you're right, OPEX is part of the mix. The reality is, whatever you do, you can save money in that process by managing things properly and by using data. And by having transparency and visibility, you can make those business choices that suit the business in the long term. So if adding some CapEx up front releases benefits in the future or whatever it may be, absolutely, good call. But that's a business planning issue. That's up to an individual business to understand its vision and understand its business plan. So the second thing on the skills, you're absolutely right. Anthony mentioned earlier this BIM logo thing that we've got. I'm quite keen, and I know that the software vendors are quite non-keen on this. We've had a number of conversations about it. At level 3, I think I've tried to make sure I didn't, in the strategy document, mention the word BIM or model, because both are pretty massively misleading. I understand why the software vendors got together and set up the BIM word, because it kind of gave clarity in the early stages of the market. I think we've moved past that now. It's just another set of tools to generate and manage data.
So what's the new word?
Well, it depends on what you're doing. If you're an architect, it's architecture. If you're an engineer, it's engineering. You happen to be using data and a set of tools to do it. I think the point's well made. I don't want to see loads of, the role of BIM manager actually is information manager, and all these sorts of things. It's just more information, but it's structured and valid and useful.
Yeah. Going back to the first point around clients and owners' ability to accept this. I mean, take Crossrail. And one of the big challenges that Crossrail is going to have is what to do with all of its models, its fantastic models, when Rail for London takes over. One of the big issues that London Underground constantly have is what to do with all of its models and how to actually manage. So how do we overcome this issue of the industry spending lots of great minds and lots of great amounts of time and huge amounts of money, and owner and operators not actually being able to accept that information and use it?
Well, the owners and operators have to be involved in the design. I mean, the whole soft landings program and the integration of operations into design and briefings fundamental. That's been inherent in the program right at the beginning. And if you look at the big owner operators, that's what we're seeing. See it in highways and Crossrail. But don't be too harsh on Crossrail. The guys have done a fantastic job there. When that project was procured before Andrew took over, data kind of wasn't part of the conversation. The day Andrew took over, data and level 2 became alive. Which
is great, but if you're not going to do anything with it now, what's the point?
So the fact that they've gone back and understood the operational strategy for Rail for London. Rail for London have been on a massive learning curve around understanding what they need. They've now come together and have got a pretty robust strategy on how they're going to move the sectional completions over into Rail for London. That didn't exist a year ago. The conversation wasn't happening a year ago. Yeah. Now it is.
Yeah, which is a worry in itself.
For sure, but you go to High Speed 2, the operational guys are in the room right at the beginning. So that's you asked for lessons learned earlier. That is one of the lessons learned manifesting itself in real life, which is great. That wouldn't have happened without doing what we're doing.